Welcome to the Franchise Woman Podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles, along with my co-host, community advocate, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. Our special guest today is Marianne Murphy. A veteran of franchising with over 30 years of experience, Marianne joined Floor Coverings International, a first service brand company, in October 2011, and currently holds the role of Vice President Brand Experience. In addition, Marianne is an active participant in the International Franchise Association, having received the designation of Certified Franchise Executive, and previously served on the IFA Women's Franchise Committee. She was awarded the 2014 Crystal Compass Award. That's a big deal, everyone. If you don't know, check it out. Throughout her career in the real estate and franchising industry, she has engaged with numerous audiences on topics ranging from selling in a down market to the power of connecting. She holds a BA from Rutgers College in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Welcome, Marianne. We're so excited to have you.
Well, thank you, Rebecca and Tracy. It's good to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
We're going to have fun. I can just feel it. Can't you, Tracy?
We are.
Sure, for sure. So I was telling Rebecca a little earlier that you look like a young and gorgeous version of Reba McEntire. I have to just say that off the bat.
You do.
I said I'm going to own that, and I hope, I'm not going to sing a song or anything like that. I saved that for home. But I'll take that. Thank you.
So pretty. So pretty.
Marianne, we applaud you on your leadership track, and I'm really excited to know more about it. Can you think of your earliest memory, like when you were a little kid, just stepping into that leadership power?
Yeah. And depending on who you ask, if you check in with my siblings, you could say it wasn't always a welcome role in their lives. But I was in that battle of position. I'm the middle of 5 children. So there's always that, you're working the up chain, you're working the down chain. You got to figure everything out in the middle because, gosh, look at me. That you're kind of fighting for that attention. So I kind of was always the one that would, decide who was going to be the school bus driver, who were going to be the passengers on the bus, who was going to be the teacher, who was going to be the student. Always kind of like directing things around until, of course, my siblings would be like, "You're not the boss of me." And then I informed them that I was the holder of all of the school supplies, and therefore they needed to step up if they wanted to play that day in my world. So it was fun. They probably didn't think it was as much fun, but we had a good time.
There you go.
A lot of creativity as kids.
Yeah, I do think leadership skills show up really early in life. And in little girls, it may appear to be, bossy pants or whatever. Yeah. But I do think it shows up quite early, and hopefully it doesn't get squashed by, parents or society or teachers or whatever, and it somehow gets to blossom. No,
there is that. Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I came up during the early years of Title IX. So I was in sports. So it always felt like there was that fight for anything, like any recognition within, because everything went to certain programs and there was a resentment, right? Because if the women were getting something, that meant somebody else had to lose. So there was always that inequity of, everybody couldn't have. There was always that thought that, well, if they were getting something, they must be taking it from somebody else. So there was that type of resentment that you always had to deal with. Maybe the football team didn't get the extra pair of sneakers because the women needed a basketball or whatever. So that was always top of mind for me in how men's and women's programs were run early on. And I had the really good fortune to, through those years, in my high school years, even earlier than that, because I was a cheerleader before sports even existed for women, and then moved on to, whatever sport they would let me play. I would, just get in there on that. But there was that inequity of fighting for it, where somebody felt that, they had to lose if you were going to win, which was complete and utter crap at the time, right? Because there was certainly enough to go around for anywhere. So overcoming that type of resentment, and as I said, I had like the good fortune to be with a group of women, young women, right, my teammates and things like that, who just, it wasn't gratuitous. It was, we were in it for the win as well, to bring the pride of what we were doing right back to our school, right? We were going to win championships. We were going to do this. So it wasn't just like, well, we're here because we want your whatever. It wasn't it. It was like, we were in it to win it. And I still chat with many of those women today. And I still hold them in such high esteem. It was the women who were like immediately above me in school and things like that. And then I've gone back, and it's great because the women who came up behind, and to go back to those school years and see how the programs have just blown up. Mm-hmm. It is so exciting to see what they've done with those programs and moved them forward. So it was a make or break. So it was either you're in the game or you're not, but there was no wishy-washy there. And I think I had a personality for it as well. Again, that middle child syndrome. I was oppressed. I need to bust out of that.
I believe you had a personality. I remember Title IX. I was the last couple of years of high school, and my gym teacher came to my psychology class and took me out and says, "You're going to play basketball." And I'm going, "What the heck is basketball?" I didn't know anything about basketball. So it was.
It's amazing what people will. It's amazing what people will say to you, and that is in a positive direction, right? It's like, come and elevate yourself. I remember being on the track team, and I wanted to run the 2 mile, and my track coach said, "Murph, there's not enough oxygen at the finish line for you. You better get over and throw the discus." And I was like, which I did, and I did very, very well. And now later in life, took up some running, and I'm about to go do my 5th marathon in New York City in November. Wow. So it's like, you know, it was, I don't know if it was to prove a point or just be stupid, mm-hmm. but in any case, it's amazing how those interactions will either push you forward or just throw you back into a spin. And that's a challenge, because words matter, right? It really, really matters who that person, who it was that said it to you, and then how you felt it and received it, mm-hmm. and then what you did with it after that. And I've had the good fortune to have, I don't always take criticism well, but to have had the good fortune for those people who threw things at me, then be there to say, okay, now get going and move it forward.
I guess that leads to another question, which would be, how do you take all of that amazing competitive sportsmanship and turn it into this incredible leadership ability? How do you draw from your experiences in the past to motivate the people around you today?
Personally, I think that one, you surround yourself with good people who are smarter than you. Mm-hmm. And especially with young people, you find those people and you make sure that they know how to get to be their very best, right? And how to move them along. Because I always thought, you know, and I've had not a lot of jobs other than like waitressing, like, and just going from restaurant to restaurant. And I didn't even do that a lot. I waitressed for a long time, and that was my first foray into customer service and understanding the financial benefit of good customer service. But I think in a leadership role is first of all, make sure you put yourself in a position where everybody around you is smarter. So that's just a win-win, right? There's no doubt that that's easy for me to do in any situation. But then make sure that, you know, the people above you, you're drawing from their experiences, and then the people below you, that you're just grabbing them and really just helping them focus. It's like, yeah, this is where you shine and move them forward. Because I think anybody, when you leave a position, you know, or when somebody leaves you, right, for growth or whatever, that you've done a really great job helping them become their best selves, professionally, personally. You know, we're all here to lift each other up, because if not, it's just anarchy and chaos. And I think that I've had a really good run. It sounds like I'm almost done, but I'm not. A really good run of excellent people that have looked out for me, and I like to think that I looked out for them, but making sure that you're never the smartest person in the room.
What great advice. What great advice, coupled with the other piece you just said, which is to get to get each person to be the best version of themselves. Reminds me of Coach Wooten's advice, or to give 100% of the best of you, kind of thing, which may not be the best of someone else. It may be more, it may be less, but get the best, show up with the best version of yourself. So this leader that plays itself out in business now started, as a bossy pants young kid to becoming a competitive sports person to now a leader in the franchise space. Are you noticing in general, especially with what's been going on this last 18 months or so, a difference in leadership styles or a difference in how women are doing things in business and franchising right now?
Yeah, and I think women leadership is quieter. It's more subtle, but I also think it's more powerful. And I think that this little box that we're in, I think through force, created an incredibly safe space for women who otherwise would never have had the time or the happenstance to cross paths. It put us all in this little box to share. And we shared that. It's like, okay, you know what? Marianne, you got to get over and you got to hang out with Rebecca Monet. She's got a thing going on over here. And then you have to go and hang out with Tracy, Kawa, because they're doing that over there. So I think that happened. And I think, because otherwise we would just try, okay, go to this conference and see this person speak. We had the opportunity to influence each other and to raise each other up, to commiserate and have, and to really appreciate the intellect, the smartness and the leadership of more women than we ever could have come across in our day-to-day lives had we not been forced into this situation. I think we've exposed ourselves to academics, sports, like if you look at most recently, the Olympics, right? On that whole thing with the amazing Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka. Look at what they did. Look at what they did about self-care, right? And we applaud because we know, because we've been giving and practicing this with each other. And we never would have had that, I don't think, to this level if we hadn't been forced into this little box that we're in. And I think that's, as we come out of it, I think we're seeing stronger women who are more confident, less scared, less uncertain. And there's still a boatload of uncertainty out there, just a tons, it's everywhere. But you know what? I think that is the great equalizer now. It's like, yep, we don't know what's going to happen over here, so we might as well go.
So true.
Just keep going.
Yeah, it kind of levels out the playing field in certain situations, would you say?
It does.
Yeah, and I think it gives us better position on the field, right? I think it gives us, I think we're seeing it, and we also know that we have more resources amongst each other, amongst women and men too, right? But we have, I think, a better avenue on finding them now, right? Just kind of through that connectivity. We've met more people. It's like, hey, you know what? Reach out. And it used to take probably longer. I think we've shrunk the connecting the dots, right? It used to take 6 degrees of separation to get somebody. It's like, nope, on a Zoom, I can get to them in 2. Here we go. So I think it's been a game changer, and I think in particular for women.
That's a really
I agree.
Wow, incredible. A career coach this week happened to mention to me that some women, a group of women, let's say, are actually afraid. They're taking positions and roles, but they're also at the same time simultaneously afraid that things are going to close back down and that they're going to be called back home, have to step into remote teacher, once again, virtual teacher for their children. Do you see any of that playing out in the franchise space? at all?
Yeah, and I do. And I think that other industries, well, and again, I have had the good fortune to have run my career throughout without having that, that interference of family, of childcare, of all of that kind of stuff. So I am enamored and in awe of women who have balance and put all that together, because I don't even know how they do it. I mean, I can't get, from the shower to the kitchen for a coffee anymore. It's like, what? So I'm in awe of the creativity that comes out. And I guess sometimes out of whatever invention is, what is it? Invention of necessity.
Yeah, mother of invention is necessity.
Whatever. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? Or whatever, right? And so I applaud that. And I've seen some amazing things, but it doesn't negate the fact that what women are dealing with, and men too, as far as, it's like, where did all the workers go? It's like, well, they can't get childcare, so they can't leave home. I've also been fortunate to be in an industry, in the home improvement industry, where we were considered an essential service. So we were able to move forward, and it wasn't not scary, right? We're in people's homes. There's a lot of scary things, right? But I'm also part of a team that we battened down the hatches, had 7,000 task forces, figured out every piece of minutia around it, created a plan, and moved forward. It was basically a big fat mind meld of what we could do and how we could do it. And did all of it work? No, all of it didn't work. But then you did it, and then if it didn't work, you threw it out, and then you went again. But I think for women emerging from this, yes, there is that fear. And I think that hopefully as a society, we get more creative in how we can support women like that. In my own business, I'm seeing more and more women ownership, and we're home improvement, which is a very, very male-dominated business. So it takes some guts to jump into this world over here and have to deal with that type of, to deal with the tradesmen and things like that, and bring that all together and elevate them, right? Because the tradesmen, we live and die by our partnerships there, right? So we want to elevate our tradesmen, and I think women are in a unique position to be able to do that. But yes, there is definitely that fear, but I think when you surround yourself with good people, you can then tap back into what got you through something in the first place. And yes, there's going to be another variable that's going to hit you right in the head, and you just take a deep breath and you go for it. And I have been in awe of the working moms, the teachers, the healthcare workers, all of them who have kept us safe and healthy and just done miracles for people. As I sit over here and just go, okay, I'm an executive, whatever, right? And I am in awe, and I'm always grateful for the way that they have led, because they are leaders. And I think that we've pretty much done it. I hope we've done a good job of raising them up and saying, wow, these are the leaders, because these are our kids.
Yeah.
These are our kids. This is the future, right? And if you don't set that good example there, and I truly appreciate what women in those industries have done, because it's not easy.
You kind of.
And there is a fear that it's going to shoot again.
Yes, agreed. The women play a key role in franchising, and like you said, are juggling a lot of things. You also hit on the tradespeople, and I don't think they always get the credit that they deserve. I had a plumber here at my house the other day that was absolutely brilliant. I have an older home I'm remodeling, and he made me aware of things I would have never thought about as a single woman in a big house, right? And I'm thinking, I want to hug this guy, other than he was kind of muddy. But I don't think tradespeople get the credit they deserve. Do you see that changing, and is franchising influencing some of those changes?
I like to think so, yes. In fact, the scenario that you described there, Rebecca, is kind of key to a mindset that we all have to keep when we enter people's homes, which is what we do. And elevating our tradespeople. And you were fortunate enough to find a really good professional. And we read horror stories all the time, Better Business Bureau, of unscrupulous people taking advantage. Like, you don't know anything about plumbing, so therefore he could have told you that, the Fetzer valve was off. And then you're like, well, what's a Fetzer valve? And he goes, well, this controls your whole house. And it's actually not even a real thing. But anyway, but you wouldn't have known, right? So I think that as we surround ourselves and we build, I think it's up to all of us in franchising, because we run so much of the economy, right? And in our world, that to the extent that we raise our visibility and our respect and partnership with the trades that we deal with, whether it's in my business, a tiler, a hardwood guy, a carpet installer, all of those people, that we raise up our professional relationships, because we can't do anything without them. And that's what I love about our franchisees, is they are valued partners. Our reviews live and die on how well our installers installed and how well we did what we did, right? So it's a team effort. And I think women are in a particularly good position to elevate that and nurture those relationships, those professionals, men too. I'm not excluding men in any way, but I do think that there's a unique opportunity to elevate those and create professionalism around an industry that just sometimes gets a black eye, you know, and I think that we can help pave the way and as partners move the visibility factor and the credibility factor higher, because we need them.
Visibility, credibility, appreciation. I mean, absolutely.
That's the big one.
Awe and appreciation of their ability to solve problems, their ability to make things beautiful, you know, to make things functional.
Yeah.
I mean, they deserve an incredible amount of credibility and appreciation. So I'm glad that you guys are doing.
Our reputation is only as good as each human being in the chain.
Yeah, yeah. So can I shift gears a second? I want to get a little personal.
Sure.
It's a Rebecca Monet routine here, right? Yes, you had this natural leadership skill, it appears, and being a middle child kind of forced you into that. But you've also, you know, stepped up into certain leadership roles. And it sounds like you've had this perfect life and everything went super easy and you sort of rose to the top. But I'm not buying it. There had to be some obstacle, some challenge, some boo-boo along the way that influenced who you are also. Is that true? And if so, could you tell us what that situation is?
Yeah, and I think this is, I think potentially it's true for most women. That obstacle is always in the mirror. That obstacle is always in the mirror, and it keeps you from doing things. And then sometimes it makes you do stupid things or something that you think is stupid or whatever, right? You know, and I think that, so for me, any obstacle, any challenge, and again, part of that is personality and that second guessing. So approaching any challenge, I literally had to push my way in and then second guess the consequences of doing that. Like, you know, you get on the other side and you're like, whoa, what now? Right? And then you work through those things because it's scary. It can be scary to fight for what you want or to fight for what, or just to even step up and say, you know, I want to take this role. I want to do this, or I will take this on. And if you do it with a mindset, which again, I am not always good with, it's like, well, I can do this if I get the right help around me. So that goes back to the, you know, surround yourself with the right people. But I think the biggest challenges and the biggest obstacles for me anyway have always been in the mirror. It's like, yeah, self-doubt, second guessing, what did I do? Like, what was I thinking? And then, you know, deep breath, and it gets messy, right? It gets messy in your head. How do people perceive me? Did I just push my way through, or did I really deserve that? Whatever it is, you know, once you're in, you need to then take the steps to move things forward, right? And either prove yourself or, which most times you do, right? Or change tack, figure out what it is. Because you know what, if you don't leap, you don't know. And then when you leap, that self-realization, like, all right, maybe this was the wrong move. And then admitting that, it's like, yeah, okay, well, oh well. It's like that fail fast and move on or whatever. But I think that fear for most women and that self-doubt is in the mirror, and it keeps us from trying things, from trying new things, from taking on new challenges, because it's hard and it is messy. And, as my mother would say, in a 5-story walk up in the Bronx at the age of 3, I would never let anybody help me go up the steps for 5 flights. So it took a long time to get up the steps, but nobody was going to hold my hand. I was going to do it myself. So understanding where you need help and who can help you. And that's the point of never being the smartest person in the room, right? So push your way in, accept that you're not the smartest person in the room, revel in it, and then really appreciate those people that you put yourself in the room with to trust and help you get where you need to go, because by then you become the team member and then the leader, and then you do the same thing for somebody else, right? It's like, no, take on this, take that challenge. But I think for women more than men, and I think it is a unique thing for women more than men, that self-doubt of, oh, I just kicked open that door. Oops. What do I do now? Whoops. Oops. And I kicked it right off, and I kicked it off the hinges, so I can't even put it back. So, there's those things. It could be messy.
I think that's so important what you said about, we can be our own worst critics. It's looking in that mirror. That's our biggest obstacle at times. And it reminds me of a time when I was sitting in the audience and the founder of the Science Channel, the Discovery Channel, Lori Silvers, was on stage. And she said that there was a moment in the middle of her process of creating this channel where she felt like she was swimming in the middle of the ocean. And there was just no choice. She just had to get to the other side, but she couldn't see the land. And I think that's the part that's striking me, Marianne, about what you're talking about, is really that unknown, not being able to visualize what's on that other side.
And it can be scary.
It can be scary.
And and in fact, it usually is scary. And I think that's where, and if you look at a career as a long run, right? It's not, or it could be a series of sprints. It could be whatever, right? I always also envy people who grew up and knew exactly what they wanted to be when they grew up. I'm still figuring it out. So when you know exactly what you want to be when you grow up, you kind of can create a path. But sometimes it's a zigzag, and sometimes you end up in the middle of the ocean, right? So that fear, I think, for some women, so in that situation, do you continue to swim to your destination, or do you go back to shore? Which one gets you where you want to go? And that's the challenge. And I think more and more women, I'm hoping, and I'm seeing it, are just keep going, grab that dolphin or that shark and just
ride it out.
Go that direction. Yeah, because I think we back down too fast.
Yeah, such a beautiful picture you painted, Tracy. This combination of I'm in the middle of an ocean and I'm going someplace, but I don't know where land is. And then the picture you gave, Marianne, of climbing the stairs and as a youngster wanting to do it alone and learning as time went on that asking for help is important, and to have a stronger or wiser or more, knowledgeable person to help you get up those stairs is also important. So these two pictures really do blend beautifully. And at the same time, going into an unknown, we don't know where that is. We can go back to safety, whatever that is, we're familiar with that, but going into that unknown, especially for a woman who is typically wired for safety and security, that's a leap of faith, right? We are wired for safety. We are wired for security. And here we are in the world of business and leadership roles, having to step into the unknown. And you seem fearless now. You seem fearless now.
I will tell you, I am at any given moment, I am never far from that 3-year-old. It's like, don't touch me and don't scares myself, which is a detriment to what I do. It's like, I can figure this out, right? And so that's probably in a self-actualization process.
Yeah.
Understanding, watching for that 3-year-old to rear her determined little head and figure out that, guess what? Stop, just stop, look, absorb, and get the help that you need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I'm not as good at
resources.
that as I would like to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the
I'm
little
not as good at
girl
that
is
as I
still
would like
doing this, and the little girl is still doing this, and she has to stop and say,
to
what are
be.
my resources? Who are around me? Yeah.
And I think a part of that is like always feeling that you have to prove yourself, right? So that goes from the 3-year-old to the high school girl to the whoever. Like you have to prove yourself almost. So you feel like, well, how good is it proving yourself if 7 other people helped you? Well, it still gets the job done. So just relax and you'll have your chance, right? So those are the types of things that you grapple with, when you're looking in the mirror.
Yeah. There
And
should be a syndrome called Title IX syndrome for those women like us
Yeah, well,
that had to prove ourselves.
yeah, it is, but yeah, and we never,
We're never
right?
enough.
We never miss the opportunity to go, when I was your age. And they're
Yeah.
like, whoa, like stop. But I do appreciate the young women of today who actually realize historically what it took that it's not a gimme, it's not a slam dunk. And they still, regardless of how much has changed, there's still that woman in the mirror who says, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
So that's always the challenge. Because you can't get rid of her. You just got to get rid of all the mirrors, which is
I
no
know.
fun.
So Marianne, I'm sorry, Tracy, go ahead.
I was just thinking that, going back to that issue of security, right? And we all saw what happened with COVID, where people did invest their lives in corporate and were furloughed, terminated permanently. I was just thinking how women love interior design. And it just seems like Floor Coverings International would be really such a good, I'm not going to say safe because nothing is safe, but it just seems like it would be such a viable option for women who want to get into that the beginnings of interior design. Where do you start? You start with the floors, you start with the walls, things like that. I can only imagine.
Yeah, and it's really rewarding to see the number of women business owners in our industry go. And we've kind of, at Floor Coverings International, we've morphed the business into that. When Floor Coverings International, in its current iteration, it kind of was just a flooring installation company, and we've kind of morphed it into more of a full service, everything. You sit back and relax. We're going to give you your HGTV moment, and we're going to help you, design and things like that. And you just point, and we're going to bring everything to you, and you're going to get to pick, and we're going to do all this in your home so that you can see what happens. And then not only that, we're going to take care of everything so that you could sit down, just have your cup of coffee. We're going to take care of it. And then we're going to clean up, right? So we took the whole soup to nuts opportunity with our customers so that they wouldn't have to, like, the path of least resistance. It's like, you pick, we'll do everything else. And we'll come in and help you design. And that's the unique aspect of it, is that we're actually in your home. So you're not schlepping back and forth. It's like, well, this looks great in the store. Now it doesn't look so good. It's like, well, okay, great. So when we're in the home and we're seeing your lifestyle and how you live and your pets and everybody and the kids and the neighbors or whatever's going on, we're able to help you craft what you want, what it's going to look like, and then just, all right, you picked it, now sit back and relax, and we're going to take care of everything else for you.
Wow.
Dream.
I love that, especially as a woman who is juggling 1,000 things, to know that all these details are going to be taken care of and things are going to be beautiful when it's done. Yeah.
Right? It's like, you take care of so many people, let us take care of you. And it goes for women and men, right? You're taking care of your family, you're taking care of your relatives, you're taking care of your in-laws, you're taking care of your parents, you're taking care of your kids, you're taking all of this stuff on. Let us take care of you.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. The future of Floor Coverings International, the future of Marianne Reba Murphy. Tell us about your future. What are you seeing?
I like to say that I have no idea. I know there's some things that I want to accomplish. I travel. I love to travel, and I've had the good fortune of traveling the planet with good people, meeting good people, both professionally and personally. So I'm in the process now. It's funny because I'm running this final marathon for myself, and I'm like, why? Whose idea was this? Why am I doing this? So I'm hoping during that 26 miles, I have some type of epiphany on what's next.
Yes.
But actually 26.2. But I think we're in a phase in my own company here at Floor Coverings International of rapid growth. That when I started here, our staff consisted of 10 people and 85 franchises. And now we're, just in 2 years of the most massive growth. And that includes the number of people in our corporate staff. So that allows everybody here to take on different roles, right? So what I came here for was operations, and it's just completely morphed, to as the company expands, we get to wear different hats. We wore all the hats. Now we get to pick, different hats and move forward. So I think I'm excited about our future here, because as I feel like the company keeps getting younger as we keep creating new things and new opportunities and new people coming in. It's very, very exciting. A diverse team is important to us. So, and a diverse set of franchises is important to us. So as we feel, it's interesting, the great thing is that we just continue to fill up with people, right? And it's these people that keep giving you your energy and different insights, because everybody has something different to offer. And you learn more and more and more. And it's great getting to know the 19 franchisees that are in training here, right? Because everybody brings something different to the table. And every one of those things makes you more curious, not only to know them more, but to know more about those things. So if there's anything in my future, it's going to just be to continue being curious about people and about things and about where the path is.
Ah, my favorite quality in people, curiosity. It's my favorite attribute of human beings. It keeps us young, it keeps us vital, it keeps us learning, keeps us growing. If I could give any attribute to anyone, it would be just that. So I love hearing that you.
And you get invited to the best parties.
That's right.
You're not talking about yourself. You're just like chatting around everybody.
I hate for this interview to end, but before we go, please let us know, our audience know, how they can learn more about you, and also how they can learn more about Floor Coverings International.
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, we are floorcoveringsinternational.com, and we're about 185 franchises in most major markets in North America, and we're excited to be growing. So if we're not in your neighborhood, we're coming soon. I can be found on LinkedIn at, I think, Marianne.Murphy, right there. So, so I'm happy to engage and interact with anybody there. And the IFA, Women in Franchising, through you all, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to get to know you two. And actually, one of these days I hope to reverse it so I can question you guys a little bit more. But it's really, I'm grateful for these platforms that have allowed us to get to know more people. So LinkedIn and Floor Coverings International, we're here for you.
We're so happy to have you. Tracy, any final thoughts from you brilliant lady, you?
I just feel very inspired today.
Me too.
Thank you for sharing with us. I just keep getting this vision of the middle child, because I've known a lot of middle children in my life. And they're always, trying to stand out in one way or another, maybe, being the class clown or the clown of the family. Yeah. And I really just appreciate the direction that you took that in. Like, I'm going to stand out on my own, doing it my way, my leadership abilities, helping the people around me, lifting the people around me up. So thank you for sharing all of that with us today.
Well, thank you for the trip down memory lane. I hadn't spoken to that. I hadn't spoken to the 3-year-old in a while. She's back.
We like that 3-year-old. She's in charge. Going on. She's spunky. I like her a lot. Who wrote the song I Did It My Way? That's going to be yours.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Frank Sinatra.
So thank you again, Marianne, for spending time with us.
Thank you both. And I look forward to meeting you both IRL in real life so that we can catch up again soon.
Yes. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today on the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships are forged. We'll see you next week for another edition.